Hakeem Jeffries, apparently, according to Mark Halprin, he's reporting that Hakeem Jeffries has been telling people the problem with Zohran Mamdani is that Hakeem Jeffries is afraid that if Mamdani wins in New York, that it's going to inhibit the ability of Democrats to take back the House in 2026. Aside from that being completely nuts, and aside from that being a total failure, I mean, just even to articulate that is a way of saying, like, I'm bad at my job. Aside from that, but I sincerely believe he may believe that because they are so feckless.
Yeah.
They feel like like literally a piece of driftwood in the ocean feels like it has more control of where it's going than the Democratic leadership. You've got now Rahm Emanuel, who is out there going on television, throwing trans people under the bus to the point where Hunter Biden is actually making a lot more sense about Rahm Emanuel and Rahm Emanuel throwing immigrants under the bus, like rushing to be just like Donald Trump, but with, I guess, I don't know, thinner. It is good to see folks from, like, I think sort of the mainstream of the Democratic Party calling out these moderates.
I mean, this show, I've been listening a good amount. Jennifer Welch is I've Had It podcast. I'm blanking on her co-host name. I apologize. But they talk about a variety of different things, also just like frustration with the Trump administration. But they're not holding back on corporate centrist Democrats either, which is like a real difference from when we were in Trump 1.0, right? Where it was very difficult. It was quite difficult to criticize Obama from the left during his presidency because he was such a milestone president, and because of his otherworldly charisma, he had kind of a fan base that made critiquing him from the left difficult. It got a little easier under Trump, but still people were trying to say, let's stay united as Democrats. But among the base right now, there is abject fury at the abdication of responsibility and their inability to fight this fascist regime. So this, I feel like, show is indicative of that shift.
This is Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan, her co-host.
Okay. I've had it with moderates. No, you don't say. I think when somebody says, well, I'm a moderate, they're allowing for some space in that statement that is exclusionary to marginalized groups. Meaning, if somebody says they're moderate, then they don't go all the way in on DEI being a legitimate proposal for a very, very diverse nation like the United States of America. Or they say, I'm moderate. And in that, what I hear is, look, I'm okay. The guy that cuts my hair, darling, he's gay. But, you know, I'm moderate. I don't like all this other gay stuff. I just feel like they're just saying enough. And I just think right now at this stage in Trump's America, you're either batshit crazy or you're for everybody.
Or you're not, yeah.
And so I want to burn moderates to the ground.
All moderates.
All moderates.
Red moderates, blue moderates.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. I want no part of any moderates and or moderation.
The other part underneath it is also good. She keeps going. Yeah. This is part 2.
My question to you is, then does an independent fall in the moderate category because they want to take no, okay.
No, because like, what's his name in
Bernie's
Maine? Yeah, Bernie is an independent, but no, I think, but sometimes he runs with there's another one, Angus, whatever. He's in Maine. He's Susan Collins' fellow senator. He's an independent, but he always caucuses with the Democrats. I don't take issues with independents because both political parties are beholden to corporate interests. So I have no issue with independents.
Okay.
I take issue with somebody saying, I'm a moderate. I think it's bullshit. And what I think it is this. I think deep down, they're triple Trumpers.
They're just embarrassed.
In certain social circles, sophisticated social circles, they say they're a moderate because they know how depraved and disgusting the triple Trump MAGA movement is. And so they just say they're a moderate so they don't look like a racist. I think saying you're a moderate is like cover for not fighting for human rights. And you cherry pick which groups get it and which ones don't.
Yeah, I was thinking, then you have the luxury, if somebody presses you on it, to change your view based on the circle that you're in, just like you said.
And I'm just going to say, I've always noticed it's white people that are moderates.
A lot of the problems in this country are because of white men, and white women are right there with them nowadays.
White women are right there with them.
I mean, I used to try to give a pass to white women, particularly in my age group, but my age group of white women, the worst of the worst.
No, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. Not all. There's a lot of us like you and me. I mean, from your age group to my age group.
Which is 4 fucking years, just
5.
FYI.
But
no, in 1 month, it's 4
and a half.
All right, I think we get it. But they're right. I mean, they're right about like
There's also some members of the CBC, I would say, guys like Clyburn, also not particularly good. But listen.
But I think she's talking more about like voters in that way, or when they're having conversations with people, in their lives, which I think is exactly right.
Yep.
Like, part of why the Epstein story is sticking is because it is like low barrier to entry in terms of understanding it, right? And the conspiracy angle is intriguing to folks, but also because it's a stand-in for at least now what it's become. Are you a part of the elite that's going to cover up these horrible crimes and then by extension screw us over, not hoard wealth, steal our wages, not give us health care? Are you a part of that elite, or are you outside of it and calling it out? And the other thing, her other rant that we played, which was so great on the show, was her ranting about AIPAC money and putting up Democrats on the screen that took AIPAC money. That's the other thing that is now the stand-in for, are you somebody who's outside of the political establishments of both parties that we hate? And these are women that are going to vote for Democrats and advocate voting for Democrats, but they hate the establishment of the party. Are you going to fight for us, or are you not? And those are just little markers. It's like in NASCAR when you have on your jacket who's funding you. It's the kind of thing that gives people like, okay, I'm going with somebody else. Go ahead, man.
These women are so great because they're like a control group for what Democrats would be like that aren't just in the slipstream of corporate cash or AIPAC or just general like professional climbing.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what normie Dems should be like.
Exactly. They want to win.
But this goes to my point about like there is a Venn diagram where there is overlap between partisan normie Dems and progressives, social democrats, democratic socialists, where they understand that you have to engage in politics and you have to communicate differences to win. I don't know what happened to Gretchen Whitmer, who was advising her, or what went sideways with her.
Yeah.
But she understood partisanship. Her politics definitively to the right of mine, but she understood the partisanship, and that is like sort of a generational thing.
Yeah.
Not always. I give you these women here, but that is there is, and partisanship is extremely important to get Democrats in office. And it enables, from my perspective, a more progressive and left agenda because, we've said this back in 2015 and 2016. You want the argument, the socially acceptable argument, to be, here's Hillary Clinton on the right, and here's everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, when the argument becomes, here's everybody else, between that and all of the potential, the Overton window, if you will, down at like, fascists who are saying we should have authoritarianism, then you have a problem.
Right.
I mean, the big selling point that the centrists like Rahm Emanuel types had is just they had a proximity to power. And after 2 losses to Trump, after Roe being gutted, after, just everything we're seeing, that no longer exists, which is why Jacob Fry also lost the endorsement of his party, despite being the incumbent mayor of Minneapolis, for a farther left candidate, Omar Fateh.
So, and that was what was sold via like Clyburn and this kind of coalescing around Biden in 2020. Yep. The pandemic was hitting. It was horrifying. There was genuine fear, and there was also fear from their end about Bernie, technically winning Iowa, winning New Hampshire, and then the Nevada caucuses, and next up was South Carolina. And that was when everybody was like, let's get serious about this. Coalesce behind Biden. All the other candidates started to drop out. And it's not that Biden's policies appealed to those voters. It was the idea that he could defeat Donald Trump. That was the central promise. And now that illusion has been shattered by what's transpired about how centrism actually doesn't beat him. It is right now this anti-establishment for both of the political parties that is succeeding. And there's an increase in independents. I would have to double check this, but I'm almost certain of it. Self-identified independents in the country too. And I would not be shocked if those are the same people that could be swayed by a Democrat on this side who is opposing some of saying things about Epstein or AIPAC and not taking AIPAC money and stuff like that. The markers that show you're bought or a part of the political establishment.
Read a couple IMs and get out here. Who is you? Sam, do you expect there to be a fall off in the podcast world regarding politics coverage given during presidential election cycles, attention is overtuned, or have we seen a change in the media landscape where there is a new norm? I don't know. Over the course of 20 years, I've tried to predict, and it is sort of hard to predict, to be totally honest with you. I can tell you right now that our views are, I think, about 10% higher in the first 6 months of this year than they were in the last 6 months of last year. And last year was the presidential election. Now, advertising revenues can change because, people don't have, I think at some level we have the opportunity to assess what's coming down the pike. Because I can tell you that advertising rates have dropped on at least on the, on YouTube, because it's all an auction. And so, rates have fallen. But our views have actually gone up. I think this month is actually one of probably pretty close to one of our highest views months. I don't know.
Compared to 8 years ago, I think way more people, just anecdotally in my life, are paying slightly more attention than they were.
100%.
Also,
100%.
The alternative media space is exploding too, and
Here's
podcasts exploded. Yeah.
I think best indicator of that is to look at polling on, do Democrats want their politicians to compromise with Republicans? That is the biggest indicator of the change that has happened. And because when Democrats said we want them to compromise, what they're basically saying is, I don't want to have to pay attention to politics. I want to be able to go about my life and just know that there's no crisis. And at one point, Democrats started to realize, I'm talking normie Democrats, that we have to engage in this because there's, two sides. And one side is engaged and is just, they are not happy with there being no crisis. They want to turn this country into, largely what we have now and worse, which is upward redistribution of money to the wealthy, fascist police forces rounding up brown people, government retreating from educating its people, making sure that people have health care, making sure that the environment is protected from corporations, making sure that citizens are protected from corporations who will make a profit at the public's expense. A profit at the expense of their health, of the environment, of their safety, on and on. And, in many respects, Democrats engaged too late. And I think the flight to Biden, which had to be, it was not as seamless as it would have been 10 years ago.
Right.
Like we saw, from Reagan, Bush 1 to Clinton, and from Bush to Obama, who had tinges of some measure of populism, but,
Campaigned as such.
He campaigned as such where it was change. And it was vague enough that people could project onto that change what they wanted and what they assumed.
Yeah.
And Biden was a completely predictable reaction to 4 years of Trump, which is flight to safety.
Well, that's why I still think that even though, Bernie probably technically came closer, the conditions for his victory were better in 2016 than they were in 2020.
Yes, because it was a surprise.
And also because of
100%.
People were retreating and horrified by Trump and COVID, and people were really scared.
100%.
So it enabled the fallback into Biden. And Biden did a better job, frankly, than Hillary, who said all the Bernie supporters were sexist, basically, of at the very least, maybe it's because Bernie and Biden have a better personal relationship, which is what the reporting has been, but of bringing him a little bit into the fold too.
Oh yeah. But I think you're absolutely right. The left, in my opinion, the left has its best chance to take power in the wake of liberals having power rather than fascistic conservatives, because the tendency is to play it safe and to miscalculate what is safe.
But we may have broken that tendency.
But I think because Democrats, normie Democrats even, now have a different understanding of what politics is about than they would have had 10 years ago, which is reflected in that compromise thing. I think we're in a different position. I think that's why we're going to see Zohran Mamdani win in the fall.
You mean W word? I thought we weren't doing predictions because we all know how it worked.
I said, hopefully.
Only I have the power. That's true.
We will win. We will win.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.